Good afternoon, it's Joey John Maguire, the English poet. I'm coming out of Fulham Broadway. I'm back home. I'm in Madison's under new management, and it's got a nice feel about it. Anyway, I have 2 poems to upload today, done in the early hours of this morning. The first one is a reference to self-defense, and it's called Self-Defense. There you go. Problem getting the sound to come up, but never mind. Hopefully this will do it. Self-defense. From out of nowhere, a verbal conflict, a differing of opinions, with aggressive posturing quickly fortified by the threat of serious violence. I make for my door, suddenly realize it's too far, that only steps away, and that's when history repeats itself. Horror upon horror. I am being attacked from behind, only this time I have just enough time to defend myself, though brief is the moment to decide. I do just that, and from being so cocksure of victory, he loses, as I, against the odds, force him into submission, but not before he cried like a baby as he begged for his life, screaming and shouting for help, accusing me of being a psychopath, having only seconds earlier threatened my precious life. Cursed coward, I thought he'd learned his lesson, but as I struggled for breath indoors, I could hear him spilling out his guts to the old Bill about the horror of being attacked, without a mention to my disability. And so it was, another year of my precious life lost in total limbo, in fearful dread of losing everything, including my freedom. In frantic panic, I looked for help from those who professed to care, and how deeply hurt I was to find there was nothing forthcoming. In fact, quite the opposite was offered, as I was commanded to look towards my Lord, admit my guilt, and beg with all my heart for forgiveness. It was a long, dreadful year where all my reserves of strength were sapped, a year where once again I sank into the endless purgatory of depression, sent to stand in the corner with my integrity challenged and left shrinking back into the silent solitude that was my closest friend, where I had spent decades in self-incarceration. When the letter finally came, it came without apology. It simply read, "No case to answer." But by then the damage was done, with all my newfound trust in humanity snatched away quicker than given from my vulnerable soul, accompanied by a quadruple bypass, just for good measure, just to reinforce and to remind me that I live in a cruel, cruel world, and casting doubt to my belief that self-defense was still a viable argument in law. For me, it seems the hurting never ends, as I endure the hypocrisy of my accusers, the hypocrisy of humanity, as fresh now as when it initially festered, and oh, when they tell me I look well, when they know in their hearts that they hurt me when I was close to dying, possibly about to die. Yet still my heart yearns to forgive, but they won't let me. And how much of a fool am I, when never has an apology been so needed, as the apology I need now. As I'm sure anybody who reads that will guess, I was abused last year. I was attacked and let down by those who cared for me, who betrayed me and left me for the gutter. Joey John Maguire. True story. You always get it from Maguire.